15th
roundabout?
Avenue. Yeah, roundabout looks like it's coming. Looks like it's on the Atlantic side. Looks like Florida Boulevard.
It's probably where that 5-way stop is.
Yeah, I'm assuming 'cause there's 5 road. Yeah, that sounds
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's where like Fletcher High School kind of is.
What about the divergent diamonds? Do you guys like those?
What's that?
There's the one on San Pablo.
I actually don't
drive
like.
on the left side of the road.
It's like a figure 8.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I feel like I'm gonna go kart. It doesn't. I don't know if it I don't know if it's quicker. Like, I guess
it's supposed to feed traffic in a more
It's supposed to make it
manner
and make it safer.
and a lot safer. And
I can see it
that's the
being
big
safer
thing.
for sure. Safer for sure.
They talked about doing it at the town center. I think that was just an idea, and they realized that would never work, and that's why they updated it to what it is now, where it's wider. But
You would not be able to do it at town center because there's so much congestion.
I like what they did with those lights there. I think that actually does help things a little bit. I mean, it's still a mess. It's always going to be a mess. It's the town center.
Yeah.
And then everybody pushing to get into the right lane for God knows why, because there's 2 lanes that turn right. But,
Which part?
right. So if you get off
yeah.
JTB
okay.
right in front of BJ's and stuff right there, there's 2 lanes that turn right onto whatever town center parkway, and
that little
everyone wants to
median
be in the
thing
right way.
kind of throws people off. But
people are just weenies.
yeah, they're dumb.
That's all it is. Anyway, let's just go ahead and dive in today. 74 episodes in. 74. Any notable 74s you can think
Cam
of?
Robinson first thing that comes to mind.
Or boob. Anybody else? I think of oh man. No. That's Randy LaJoy, NASCAR driver. Corey LaJoy's father. It was a tough weekend. Tough weekend for Jags fans. And we're just gonna.
How was the ceremony?
I didn't go to the game.
I was there. It was okay. I mean, you couldn't really understand what they were saying. I think it may have been just where we were sitting, but shot is already kind of hard to understand as it is. And we said Duval twice, and it was kind of cool to see the banner drop and see the gold 74 and stuff. Yeah, it was cool in that regard, but.
Did someone take home the banner? Like, try to run out of the stadium?
Pretty sure there was employees there and just grabbed it and tucked it away. So no issues there.
How special would that be if you brought home the banner from the unveiling?
Well, we saw a guy that was he caught the extra point or something at some point, and he held it on for like 2 additional plays until they finally got the ball back.
Yeah, they got to get the ball back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you had to run in the tunnel if you plan on keeping it.
He was in the tunnel. He could have, but he just stood there and he was holding it like, cradling it like a good running back, but
Toby Gerhart.
Not a good running back, but it was a tough game to be at. But we'll get into that. We're gonna start the show like we have been the last couple weeks. Mike, you and I have been doing the Around the Sunshine State Roundup. Cue the music, Keith, and because I'm gonna be the one dubbing it in later. Cue the music, and let's go ahead and start. Mike, go ahead and start off with Miami.
Miami did have a home game against the North Carolina Tar Heels, their first conference game, and they took an L as expected.
Ooh.
So, sorry, Miami, and keep enjoying those L's.
Sucks for them. I've got UCF next. They improved
let me say, score 27-24. Forgot to say that.
Gotcha. You're good. UCF improves to 4-1, beating the SMU Mustangs 41-19. A good win for them. Still, it's just UCF. I mean, they haven't really done much this year to really impress anybody. And also of note, FAU did not play this week, so we can skip them. Mike, FIU.
FIU did have a home game against the University of Connecticut Huskies, and they got smoked 33-12. And UConn is not a very good team, so that just shows where FIU's program is at.
They're in
UConn not do it.
Exactly. They're in something I saw. They're the bottom 25. So
they're one of the worst
25,
teams in the FBS.
Yeah, they were in the top 10 in the bottom 25. Rolling along down to Tampa, South Florida actually made it a game against the 21st ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, losing only 28-24. Still only one win on the season for the Bulls. Skyler, we go over to you with Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I got the Wildcats coming off of a 41-17 loss versus Tennessee State. they're 1-4 this season, and they're coming up into Jacksonville playing host to Jackson State, which is 5-0. Deion's got that team rolling. They just came
Tickets
off.
are cheap though, too, right?
Yeah, so you can actually go to the game. Tickets are around $30 in the 100 section. So obviously it would be fun to watch. Jackson State's gonna play well. I can guarantee that. I don't even watch them, but I can guarantee they probably play well versus Bethune-Cookman because Bethune doesn't seem too strong. But I would think the band is always great.
That's why you go.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just fun to go to a game.
I agree. I would go just for the band myself. Mike, finishing off here for you, FAMU.
FAMU, they actually did win a game this past Saturday against
Hey.
South Carolina State, winning 20-14, and they have Grambling State next. And I'm just looking, and I do see FAMU did just hire an athletic director, so that is kind of breaking news.
Okay, cool. And last but not least, the hometown team, Ed Waters. After coming off a great win against Morehouse College, I looked it up. They are the Maroon Tigers. Remember, I didn't know what their mascot was last week. Whatever. They lose bad against Albany State. 56-7 is the final in that one. It's not looking good for Ed Waters, as they only have one win on the season, 1-4 in the conference, and can't win a road game. But next week they take on North Carolina A&T in Greensboro. So that's that. So thank you guys for sticking around for our Sunshine State Roundup. And that leaves us with two teams, the Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles. Skyler, we're going to start with the Florida Gators. So they beat Missouri. Wasn't pretty.
Never is versus Missouri.
Tied at halftime. Score first in the third quarter and, win 24-17. Anthony Richardson threw only 14 passes, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But he just seems to be making easy throws hard. Is that just, you think it's a mind thing? Do you think it's a play call thing? I mean, again, he only threw 14. He went 8-14 for only 66 yards on the game.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, figure it out, because it is frustrating seeing, passes just sail over receivers' heads in certain situations when it should just be an easy dump off. And a lot of times sometimes that's just fundamentals. You just kind of get too comfortable, too relaxed, and, you're not disciplined in your actions, and that's kind of what happens. So, I don't know, maybe I didn't watch this game this past week, but, Missouri's always played us tough, and we always do boneheaded stuff, and obviously I think the whole fan base just expected more out of Anthony Richardson, so to see his struggles is
go ahead.
bad.
He did have 5 carries for 45 yards, but he threw a pick and he had a fumble. He only had one receiver with more than one reception in Xavier Henderson, and I could be wrong. I'm just taking a guess here, but of those 8 completions, I don't think any of them he threw past 10 yards. I mean, Dante Zanders had a 12-yard reception, and Justin Shorter had a 20-yard reception. He could have thrown those past 10 yards, but it just seems like it must have been a bunch of dump-offs, or not a bunch of dump-offs, as he only threw 14 times.
Right.
It was a very weird game. I only watched a little bit of it. I've been pretty proud of myself watching most of the Gator games so far this season, but
He's probably seen a lot more than me.
Mihalik, is that how you say the kicker's name?
Hell if I know.
Well,
So-
he went 1 of 3, so not a great day for him. Florida has a big game coming up against LSU.
Mm-hmm.
How do they win that game?
Well, it helps that it is in the swamp and it's a night game, so that helps a lot. I guess one thing I want to mention on Anthony Richardson, this is just a presumption, but I think, he's from Gainesville. I think he puts a ton of pressure on himself to be like the next Gator great. He wears number 15, and that's not just because he randomly chose a jersey. It's because he knows the history and the legacy behind the number.
What if he
at that
did, though? I have no idea who played 15.
Yeah. Oh, is that Percy? No, yeah. No, so, I mean, this is important to him. Like, it's big, and I'm sure every time he misses a pass, he just puts more pressure on himself because he's a young guy, and that's typically what happens with young players. And last year when he came in, backing up Emery, there's not pressure because he's the backup. He's just going out there slinging it, and now as the starter, he's having to play a different style. Sometimes he's not asked to use his legs as much, and
right.
That's kind of a disadvantage for him. But he's gotten to a state now where it's like he's almost uncomfortable playing football, and it's just you can't be at when you're the quarterback at Florida. So.
No, absolutely, and with the tough slate that they have, LSU has had a defense that, minus that last week obliteration by Tennessee, their defense has been good as of late in their last 5 games, allowing less than 20 in 4 out of those 5 games. Again, minus the Tennessee one. It's going to be tough for Florida to go in there or be at home and win that game. But again, home field advantage is a huge thing for Florida. We've already seen that before. But
it's going to be a good old-fashioned college football game.
Yeah, Richardson's going to need to throw a couple touchdowns. I think he's going to have to. 5 TDs on the season isn't going to cut it, and he's going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to pressure Jaden Daniels because he's been electric lately, running and throwing the football. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be an interesting game as of right now.
I mean, it'll definitely be exciting.
We'll just say right now, do you think Florida wins the game?
I think they pull it out, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think?
No shot.
No shot. Oh, man.
I think they have a shot just because of college football.
They only
parity
lost
of the season,
one touchdown by one score to
wins.
Tennessee in Knoxville.
That score was closer than it really. I'm sorry. What's the expression?
Well,
it wasn't close as the score indicated.
No, not really, because we also went for it on 4th down and failed, and there's situations where we left points.
That
on
was
the board.
a 20-point game before it made to one possession.
Florida brought everything to the table that game, and they left it all out on the line, and they came up short. Tennessee slept in the second half.
Yeah, well, point being though is Tennessee is. I don't think Tennessee slept in the second half because they would want to.
They were playing very conservative football.
Because they're gonna not want to make mistakes. But point being though is, I think we'll beat LSU. LSU's coming off of a really demoralizing loss. I don't think they really care for Brian Kelly. Well, so I think they're playing football all right. I haven't seen much, but LSU seems like they're an entertaining team. But I think these are pretty evenly matched teams. I think the fact that it's in Florida helps. But I do think, we can lose the game by a shoe. So it happens all the time.
Man. I forgot about that.
That was a great game to watch.
That happens all the time in this rivalry. This one, you never know.
Marco Wilson.
You really never know with this game.
I completely forgot about that.
That was good stuff. Well,
that was what, 3 years ago? Or was it 2 years ago? Was it 2020?
It was Mullins' second year, maybe.
No, it was more recent than that. I think it was 2020.
Look it up real quick while I look up here. I think Florida's key to the game is, like I said before, stopping Jaden Daniels. I mean, Florida's defense is allowing 412 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good number. And they're allowing 25.3 points per game.
It was December 13, 2020. So it was the 2020 season.
Good call.
God, that is hilarious. I forgot about that.
Well, you heard it here. Skyler predicts a Gator victory in the Swamp this Saturday. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Check out that game. Going to Tallahassee. I guess technically we'd be going to
Raleigh,
but checking out the Noles. 19-17. Seminoles lose.
They shouldn't have lost that game.
A hard to swallow loss for the Noles. I'm giving you the floor, Mike, as this is the first time I think in Dimes on Duval / Trust the Process history that Mike has a whole sheet of notes in front of him.
Not even a whole sheet. Just more like some plays I wrote down. I wrote down a reaction to those notes. Because I didn't watch
back though.
I didn't get the chance to watch the game on Saturday, so I had to rewatch it yesterday.
That hurts.
And I watched a condensed version. And the condensed version, by the way, on ACC Digital Network is not great. The audio is so far behind the video. It's actually kind of funny. But anyway, two things that pissed me off about this game.
Lay it out there.
The conservative play calling in the second half and the amount of stupid penalties Florida State had. And
Sounds familiar.
One of them I thought was complete horse crap. The roughing the passer on Josh Farmer.
It was consensus a very, very bad call.
That was a horrible call.
They called it, in my opinion, because his helmet came off.
And
when
by
he
the
hit
way,
the ground, it came off.
That was
and that's a chin stroke
That wasn't
problem.
even the worst roughing the passer call of the weekend.
No, there was two other much more egregious ones. Yeah.
But Florida State offense came out pretty solid in the first half. First few drives looked questionable. Then they kicked it up and they got the 17 points, which, by the way, are
17 unanswered.
17 and straight. Yeah, they were up 3-0 and 17 straight in the second quarter. And our kicker made a 49-yard field goal, which I did not think he was going to make. I literally, Saturday night, I was like, oh, he's going to miss this. He's going to miss this. And he drilled it right down the middle. I was like, oh, my God, we may have a kicker. And, yeah, no. The two penalties like I alluded to that pissed me off were the roughing the passer and the Dylan Gibbons unsportsmanlike conduct push. Like, that's a senior leader. You don't do that. Like, he should know better than that.
Did you see it?
I saw the play. Yeah. I saw the push.
It was unnecessary.
It was not needed. You were already dominating the line, or not the line, I'm sorry. He was already dominating the play, and he just decided to go extra, and it really hurt us. Because I think we had a first down, if I'm not mistaken. And it turned into a 3rd and long, and yeah. And then it turned into the Mastromano punt situation, where he rolled out and could have ran for the first down, but I think he didn't realize he could have gotten there, and he was like, oh, shit, I have to run 25, 30 more yards to get a first.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't think he was going to get it.
I watched it a couple times. I asked a couple other people, too. I'm one of the few that thought he could have made it.
I'm with you.
There were people,
but
I'm pretty sure a couple were like, he would have been very close, but
I think he realized halfway through that run, he was like, oh, I still have 25 more yards to go. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And you see a linebacker coming up from the left side, but you also have a lot.
Okay, I just realized which play you're talking about.
You know, yeah. There's a lead blocker, which he could have possibly blocked him. He could have had the first.
I think he could have. It's one of those situations, though, I don't think they've ever done that in practice.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't situationally aware of where he was on the field.
So
and it sucks.
It sucks. But, I mean, he did a good job. He tried. I mean, and also I learned a new rule, by the way. When you pass the line of scrimmage on a punt, it's a loss of down. I don't think that ever happened, ever.
Had no idea about that rule.
I've never heard of that rule, so that's good to know. But also give a lot of credit to the defense for not breaking in multiple times within the red zone.
Yeah.
Especially in that fourth quarter. So the defense was great on third down. They allowed, I think, 1 third down conversion. I know the penalties
two of 13 on third down.
The penalties really pissed me off by Florida State. 10 for 100 yards.
Yeah.
Inexcusable. And
well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel, how do I word this the best way? Do you feel the play call at the end of the game, was it Jordan Travis error? Was it receiver error? Or a play call error?
Why not give credit to the defense? We ran that exact same play earlier and we scored. The defense adjusted. The corner, as you can see, he forced Micah Pittman inside on the Micah Pittman touchdown earlier in the game. They tried to run the same play. Worked to perfection earlier in the game. The DB forced Micah to go inside and threw the whole timing off.
So you're okay with the play call?
I'm okay with the play call. Now,
you don't think we go to the 6'7" guy on the other side of the field?
I mean, he could have. But
you
again,
don't run the ball and just
this
set
goes
up
back
for a kicker that had confidence.
Okay, hold on.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing some things out there.
You go into the game and you're just thinking, your kicker has been sorry this year. You're trusting your kicker to make a kick. I don't care how close it is.
I'm not saying I am. I'm just throwing things out there that
I would rather trust Jordan Travis and Micah Pittman over Ryan Fitzgerald or Fitzpatrick or whatever his name is.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't like the play call. I mean, why are we going for a home run right there? We didn't have to do that.
I don't mind it, but I also think we had a minute and what? Let me see what I wrote down.
Just give the ball to Benson.
Yeah, Benson was looking good.
I mean, just give the ball to Benson. He gets 6-7 yards, maybe gets a first down, and then you could do that. I don't understand because Jordan wasn't throwing the ball exceptionally well.
But my thing is also this goes back to what I said at the beginning. The conservative play calling in the second half was atrocious. We had 28 yards in the second half before that last drive.
Miserable.
I was fuming. I was like, where is this offense?
You know how many passes Jack Chambers threw? Their backup
One.
quarterback?
One for -5 yards.
That was Thayer Thomas.
Oh,
Jack Chambers, the guy.
He didn't throw one.
He threw one pass. It was
I think it was two Chambers. So I know Chambers was involved in the play.
Probably. I mean, regardless, he had 7 rushes for 39 yards, and he went 0 for 1. Yeah, 1 for -5. Yeah, there you go. And we lose the game.
Yeah, there was under a minute left from the 22, 2nd and 8. You throw that pick. You could have run a different play, but my thing is, I don't mind the play call because it worked before. It worked to perfection before. So
do the Noles have any chance of beating Clemson?
yes, they're only 3.5-point dogs.
Okay. What do they need to do? You can say that, Skyler, because he said it to you.
I mean, they have a
battle
shot.
versus the Tigers.
In order to beat Clemson, they need to get after DJ Uwangale. I don't even know if I pronounced that right, but
You're fine. You're fine.
Uvalele?
No, you're good.
like they need to get after him because he does not like pressure, and he gets timid in the pocket and panics and does not look good.
Is anybody healthy?
Florida State? I've never seen a team this banged up in my life.
Every other play, it seemed like a guy was going down. I don't know if they showed that in the condensed version, but every other play,
they couldn't.
Somebody was getting hurt.
I just saw the updates, and I saw a tweet. I can't remember who tweeted it. The amount of injuries to starters for the Seminoles this year is actually insane. I want to see if I can.
Yeah, they don't do it like they do in the NFL, where they just have the injuries on their homepage. But I mean, seeing multiple guys get injured more than once in the game, losing Cooper in the middle, that was huge too for the run game. It was extremely frustrating, just one guy after another going down, down, down. I was extremely scared when Verse went down again because he went down awkward, but
I didn't see that.
Seemed to be okay. Yeah, he went down and his knee bent in a really awkward way, but he got up and jogged off the field, so that was a good sign.
I'm trying to find that list of all. There was a whole list of injuries that were like no team can really come back from that. But all right, so I just found the tweet by Carter Carrells he's a Florida State beat writer for the Tallahassee Democrat. Florida State starters who have been hurt this season: quarterback Jordan Travis, offensive lineman Maurice Smith, offensive lineman Bless Harris, offensive lineman Robert Scott, running back Trayshawn Ward, wide receiver Winston Wright, wide receiver Johnny Wilson, tight end Cam McDonald, defensive end Jared Verse, defensive tackle Fabian Lovett, defensive tackle Robert Cooper, cornerback Omarion Cooper, also center Caden Lyles. Well, probably would have been a starter. Tatum Bethune did get hurt and come back. So, yeah, Florida State's banged up. And
what was the number there?
I don't know what the 11? Number was, but I
thought you were just gonna say a number.
Oh no, I just went off the name. Like that's how bad it is for Florida State. They need this bye week badly after Clemson. So.
Oh gosh.
Well, I think Clemson's getting their whole D line back, which is scary to see on Saturday.
Joy. So that'll be at 7:30 on ABC. So you can be flipping back and forth between the Gator game and the Nole game if you prefer. And now we have to get to the last point, guys.
By the way, one last thing.
Yeah, hit me.
The last time a top 5 team came into Tallahassee, what happened?
What happened, Mike? I can't remember.
Florida State won against North Carolina in 2020.
The North Carolina game. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah. That was 2020 season. Florida State was not any good.
Wait, that was Travis. No, we went. He won the next year.
Yeah, 2020 was when Sam Howell threw it past to Javonte Williams on the side, and Javonte dropped it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh gosh. Well, do we want to get to the last depressing fact of the day?
Let's get at it.
We have to, right?
We have to. You didn't go to the game, did you?
No, I wish I did. Unfortunately, I mean, even though it's bad, I mean.
We'll get to everything. Weirdly enough, as a guy who's never at the game, shout out to loyal listener Chris for hooking me up with a ticket. I'm the only one of this group that went to the game, and boy, oh boy, did I pick a great one to go to.
You're bad luck.
Don't say that, because I want to go to more games. I don't want to be bad luck.
You're bad luck when you go by yourself.
13-6. No, maybe it's bad luck that all 3 Manzi kids went to the game.
Oh.
So
Julia went too?
Julia was there. She was in the end zone.
In the end zone, she scored more touchdowns than the Jaguars?
Yeah, absolutely. We all scored more.
Yeah.
It felt like 13-6 your final. No second half points. 0 of 3 on 4th down. 0 of 3 in the red zone. Inside the 5-yard line, we passed the ball 9 times. We ran the ball 4 times. The stats don't mean anything. You can have 422 yards total, but if you only put up 6 points, what the hell were you doing on offense? Trevor Lawrence, no TDs, 2 interceptions, one being the last play of the game, kind of desperation heave, but his worst play of the day.
Red zone pick?
Red zone interception. We're all standing, freaking out. We're thinking, everyone there is like, run, 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 because he had the first down on his feet if he wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And he chucks into the back of the end zone and gets picked off.
They also should have just handed it off to Robinson, the 2nd and 1.
Well, and that's another issue with Dougie P. I think some of his play calling has not been ideal. And Mike has said it in previous episodes. He's not a run first head coach or play caller. Sure, I get that. But Lord have mercy, we've been making our case for James Robinson for 2 years.
So I wouldn't have given it to James Robinson.
Why?
He was average. I mean, he finished with 10 carries for 27 yards. The efficiency is not good.
But in that situation, he's known to be okay. Like, so I mean, you can see it all the time where like maybe there's one back that gets down the field, but then they can't score in the red zone. You put that guy that knows how to do it, and it just seems like magic. Like, I mean, he had I'm drawing a blank on which game it was this season, but it was right after a turnover. Might have been the Commanders in the first game of the season. He gets it from 11 yards out.
Oh, yeah.
And takes it right in. It was like right after that Trayvon interception. He first play, handed off to Robinson, end zone. Easy. That's all he had to do. I mean, he has a nose for the end zone.
We were excited to see, ETN maybe have a breakout game, whatever. But I don't see why you don't give it to Robinson in that situation. I don't care if he had that number. He didn't have that number at that exact point in time either.
And he's the type of back that, we've seen him bust big runs, and that's because you get him going. And it's almost guaranteed that he's going to bust a big one. But if you limit his own runs, you're limiting your own offensive production.
I mean, they ran it 20 times for 98 yards
even
with
that's
those
not
two.
enough, yeah.
With those two.
But
so,
I get though, it's he's
get
past
it.
the run, which
I get it, but obviously the pass wasn't working either.
Nothing was working.
I mean, nothing was working, but it was frustrating all around. I wish they did a metric of drops. I looked everywhere. You can't even look in the play-by-play and see if the ball was dropped. It just says incomplete because there were so many drops in that game.
My biggest issue with this offense, specifically Trevor Lawrence, is that he's trying to play hero ball. He's trying to play savior. He's trying to force the big play. Mm-hmm. Dude, just take the simple check down if it's there. Go through your progressions. Don't force it to your first or second read.
He couldn't. He was too slow with it. Every time he was going through his reads, he was taking a month and a half, and then he was getting flustered, and he threw the ball 20 yards over somebody's head.
It's just so frustrating. Just do a simple check down. It's not difficult. He did it a lot in Clemson. He checked it down to Travis Etienne and whoever, Justin Ross screen, whatever. This does not make sense. And Trevor just needs to go through his progressions and make the right read instead of forcing a decision to go 20 yards downfield for a big play. Just do the smart thing. Tom Brady made a living off of making checkdowns or quick 5 yards.
He still does.
It's the best career ever.
5-yard routes, 10-yard routes. Let the receiver take care of business from there.
That's why they get paid too.
It doesn't make any sense to me on how Trevor Lawrence is struggling this poorly. Like, he played really well in week 2 and 3. Played like ass, in week 1, 4, and 5. So
he played like ass in the first half of week 1.
I'll give you that.
Fair. Okay,
I'll give you that. And then game 4, you have the monsoon Ian just messing everybody up. Nobody looked good in that game, and it is what it is.
I mean, it looked good until that one
conditions.
incompletion over Agnew, and then it hasn't been good since.
Yeah, since he overthrew Agnew on that play, he has not been the same quarterback. And I mean, we've talked about him multiple times because Mike is sold that he's worth the money. Christian Kirk, I still agree that he is. But how do you target him only 3 times in that game? And only one of them was actually catchable, which he caught for 11 yards. One catch, 11 yards to the guy you just spent $8 million on. That wasn't even close to the right number. I was just saying a bunch of money on.
$8 million's a bunch of money for us.
I know.
He's 1.5 this year.
That's my relative. But like, you target the guy one time. Lowest, not quite the lowest, but some of the lowest numbers of his entire career. And I understand that they were running more of a cover 2, so there wasn't a linebacker trailing like there was against Philly and LA. Yeah, or Indy and LA is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. But you still got to find a way to get the ball to your best receiver.
And that's what these, obviously, I don't know read defenses and stuff like that, but everyone's saying the best way to beat a cover 2 is quick plays, quick slants, crossing routes, whatever, underneath.
And that's what he was good at. We've seen him do that already this year.
Why did we
abandon it?
Why didn't Doug Peterson draw those up?
And I'm sorry, I'm like yelling at you guys like to answer the question. Obviously, we don't have the answers here, but like, Doug, give us some answers here, man.
This falls on Doug more so, I think, than it does Trevor. Granted, Trevor didn't look great.
Do you think it's like the mindset is this year is not expected to be anything like major, so where there's going to be growing pains? I mean, he kind of said it in his press conference a little bit.
Yeah, he said it's a process.
But ultimately, like, his mindset is like
just the process.
Ultimately, the mindset's, you try for that so that way he can learn his mistakes this year, and then next year it's almost flawless. And maybe next year we bring in another receiver that's a bring down the ball no matter what type of guy. But that's later on down the road. But ultimately, one of the mistakes this year, like everyone said it coming into the offseason, he gets a pass because he was coached under Urban. But now, week 5,
this is year 1 for him.
Yeah, week 5, everyone's freaking out, and I get it. That's upsetting. It's frustrating. We have PTSD, but everyone was in unison saying he's got a pass. But now all of a sudden he's got no pass because it's just he's making some really bad mistakes. But I think ultimately it's better that he tries them now. And, he has looked better. We're 2-3. Like, we're one game under what we won last year. Like, what are the expectations this year? Like, I everyone's freaking out. Like,
no, I agree with everything you say except for the 2-3 part. I understand that we are 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
But if you told me 2-3 and we lose to the Texans, I'm pissed. We should not be losing.
What were our
to
2
the
wins
Houston
prior
Texans.
then?
I don't care about that. I really don't care. Like, we win those 2 games, that's great. That's fine and dandy.
So what if you say before the season, you don't say when you lose to the Texans, but you say you're 1-1 against the Texans in the season?
I'm still not okay with that. This team has literally sold everything that they had. They sold their souls.
What if they sweep the Colts this week, and then sweep the Titans?
Now this is all what ifs now. All these what ifs.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans were 0-3-1 for a reason. They are not a good football team.
But it's no different than how we have that streak against Indianapolis. It's quirky. It's weird.
It's very different because we can't beat the Texans. They are beating
It doesn't matter where. I know they've beat us 9 straight now. Like, that's the point. It's like, I don't get it either. So, but, we could have won. We should have won. They had one good drive, and let's not forget to mention Trayvon Walker had a horrible.
Yeah, they didn't have a good drive. They had a Trayvon Walker save them on 3rd and 20.
The game was over on that play.
It was 3rd and 20, and I called that game was done. That game was over when that play happened.
So
I'm sorry.
As much as we can blame at Doug, Trevor,
Trayvon,
the run going away, we messed up.
All the guys that dropped the football.
Yeah, it was just
all the missed tackles.
One huge learning experience, but this was Doug's first experience with Houston, and now he's going to see.
It is not his first experience with Houston.
As a Jaguar.
Okay, I don't give a crap about that.
Well,
I don't care.
When you play division opponents, it does affect how you play your opponent.
I don't think it matters. You're a coach. You should not let division matter like that.
Well,
we're seeing coaching decisions last few games on night games, Sunday night, Monday night, completely. These guys are doing stupid decisions, going for 2 instead of kicking an extra point.
And then, it's like, let's not forget to mention like Nate Hackett going from shotgun and stuff. I don't get the coaching in the NFL. It doesn't make sense.
We sit here and we have access to all these crazy analytic things, so we all think we're couch coaches and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't understand how it is. It is a lot harder than it seems, but yeah, no, you do sit there and question sometimes, like, what were we thinking?
No, like the coaching in the NFL.
We're all so frustrated, man. We are all.
It's been just weird. Like, I got home last night watching the Raiders and Chiefs game. My dad was like, "Why are they going for 2?" I was like, "I don't know. Like, they should go for 1."
Analytics tells them to, or some bullshit.
That is exactly probably the reason. And everyone was going off on Twitter because then it possibly almost cost the Chiefs the game. But then the Raiders decided to go for 2 with a minute and a half left in the game to take the lead. Just kick the extra point, go to overtime, and see what you guys got. I don't understand this idea of trying to go for the win on the very last possible offensive possession.
Unless you are terrible and like you have like if you're say the
Raiders are
Bears,
pretty bad though.
Yeah, but like as of right now, I mean
they're 1-4.
Okay, record doesn't show. Like last year they were good.
Fair.
You give me the Bears in that situation, the Bears are going to go for 2 because they're not going to win the game in overtime.
I mean the Jags.
Jags too.
No one expected the Jaguars to be a Super Bowl contender or a playoff. Playoff is loosely used, but playoff contender because the division is sorry. We're only 1 game back of the Titans. We have to play the Titans twice, which I'm not looking forward to later in the year. But if we beat the Colts next week, we are 2-1 in the division. We are looking good, and then we save the rest of the division for later in the year.
And then we also go to London, which is a good spot for us, and we're playing against Russ.
Average spot.
Or actually, we play New York first, and then it's Denver. But
yeah, but
if we play, or not, I'm not gonna say we
remember
play today.
Remember when you asked me about the next 4 games, the Jaguars? You said, "Are you expecting 3-1?" I said I'm expecting 2-2, 3. I would love 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still expecting 2-2.
2-2.
So, are we winning Indy, losing New York?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the combination is. It's just 2-2. We'll see.
Well, I want to know now.
You'll find out Sunday on the Colts.
So if they lose, they win the next 2 in your.
No, I mean if they lose to the Colts, it's in a different situation.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
I think that. Do you think they get 5 sacks this week?
I'd like 1 sack.
Just give me 1, I'd be happy.
Well, they got 1, didn't they?
Yeah, barely.
Because Matt Ryan's just getting rid of the ball quickly to the point where he doesn't have to get sacked. He just throws it away before he gets hit.
Yeah, and that's what Houston did too. If you saw that, they were getting rid of the ball really quickly, handed off the ball. Hats off to Dameon Pierce. He had a great game.
His best game as a pro so far.
No,
best game
last
of his career.
week. Last week he had a better week.
He had a 75-yard touchdown and
I mean, only 14 carries, 100-something yards. It's still technically better.
Also, that just shows how big of a moron Dan Mullen was, but that's besides the point.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anyway,
it's like when we watch the Jaguars not run Robinson. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Last note for the Jags is John Miller is signed after 2 guys put on IR. K'Lavon Chason, which whoop-de-doo, don't really care. But Ben Bartch, who dislocates his knee and actually has some like tendon issues. So that one kind of hurts. But we'll see what happens with this John Miller. I have no idea who the hell this guy is. He was a 3rd-round pick by the Bills in 2015. He's bounced around with the Bengals and the Panthers. We'll see what happens.
I know a John Miller from Canada, but I don't know.
I know John Miller and Joe Morgan, the baseball guys.
Oh.
R.I.P.
John, Jon, right? I think that's his name.
What?
Like Jon spelled, not John.
Yeah,
like
yeah, different spelling. Anyway, let's just go ahead and the unfortunate Mike's MLB update of the 2022 season.
They got swept.
Mike's MLB update.
Ding.
2-0 in the best of 3.
It was a tough one. You were close, though. I mean, you had the Brewers right on the outside looking in. And I really thought the Blue Jays
The Mariners are just really hot right now. Did they end up winning?
No, they actually lost on a walk-off home run
to
the Astros.
I hate the Astros.
Everyone hates the Astros.
So they were up 7-5 going into the bottom of the 9th. And they won 8-7.
Braves almost came back and beat the Phils too. I'm glad the Phillies won. I hate both, but I hate the Braves more.
I hate the Yankees. Hope they get swept.
So that was the only 2 games today?
No, there's Yankees Guardians right now as we speak.
The first one out.
And then Padres Dodgers.
Late night.
Yep, 9:37. So not. I mean, it'll be done by.
So really quickly right now, those are your teams that are left. Pick your World Series right now. Each of us. Let me get my pencil and paper.
It was Padres who again?
Padres are
Dodgers.
playing the Dodgers.
Oh God. Are you just picking a matchup right now?
Yeah, just pick your matchup. If you want to pick who wins, go for it. But I like how I can hear myself writing.
We got Houston and Seattle, and then
You got Houston,
come on.
Seattle,
Somebody
and then
just
Yankees,
throw one out there.
Guardians.
Yankees, Guardians.
I'm going to go ahead with the Braves against the Yankees.
Okay.
And I'm going to have the Braves repeating.
Okay. I've got the
Because
Dodgers.
Fuck the Yankees.
I've got the Dodgers. Because fuck the Braves.
Fair enough.
And I have them playing. God, if they can do that.
I was almost going to pick the Mariners.
I'm picking the. I want to pick the Mariners. I like the Mariners, but I'm gonna pick the Stros.
I'm going Dodgers because
They're the best team in baseball.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good.
And then the Guardians.
Okay. That's
We
a
have
fun
3 different AL teams.
one. Good.
I almost went with the Mariners.
I
though.
just think the
I
Guardians.
like the Mariners. I want the Mariners to go all
Yeah.
the way. If it was
That
what
would be
I
a
wanted
crazy-
in the World Series, I would want the Mariners Padres.
So
That's
the
a-
lowest rated World Series.
Juan Soto.
Yeah, I guess.
The lowest rated World Series probably.
No, there's been.
No, I'm
worse
talking about out
matchups.
of those possible
There's-
matchups.
Yeah, oh well, of these that are left, yes, yeah.
The
absolutely.
NL is pretty stacked. I mean, that's a pretty good playoff with the Padres and the Dodgers and the Braves. Those are
I think the Dodgers will probably sweep them.
I mean, I'm
From
honestly,
what I've seen,
I'm honestly surprised that the Cardinals and Mets were bounced. So like,
Yeah.
Mets choke every year. Let's be real.
Yeah, maybe not so much the Mets, but I mean, again,
That's
the
just
Padres
mismet.
choke. The Padres choke a lot too. The Cardinals, I'm glad they lost. I
Yeah.
hate the Cardinals.
yeah. And
That was talking baseball. Sorry, and that'll be the last time we probably do that until we say who the World Series champ is, and we can see who's right or wrong. But Skyler, you wanted to end with a Coastal Indoor update.
we decided to become like the watch spot for Auburn football, just because.
Why?
Well, my coworker Reed Webb, his father's Lee Webb. He's an alumni for Auburn. He's a
Lee
former.
Webb, the 700 Club.
You think I'm gonna know these golfers?
He's not a golfer.
No,
Oh, I don't know.
He's a
He's
broadcaster.
a-
Oh, even
he's
worse.
a guy on TV.
He used
for-
to be on
for
NBC
golf?
Nightly News.
Oh, just a normal broadcast? I don't want to know this.
national news,
I wouldn't know
global news. I think too, even.
this. Yeah. No.
But and then also
Anywho.
like we have more connections to some other Auburn player. Like there's an Auburn golfer. Gosh, we know his brother Shane Barber, so he supplies our polos from Swanee. So just some Auburn connections when we figured it's easy to get those games on TV. And if you know any Auburn fans in the area that want to feel welcomed,
Any
and
War
play-
Eagle fans,
and
go
play
to
golf.
Coastal Indoor Golf, play some golf, watch some Auburn.
drink some beer.
And
football.
root for Brian Harston to be fired by the end of the year.
He will. Bank on it. He will.
Yeah, he should.
He will. Oh, gosh. Well, that about wraps up another episode of Dimes on Duval. If you guys haven't checked out the fall flavors or the Halloween flavors, I should say, by Nerdy Nuts, go and check that out right now. Use code DIMES10 at checkout and get 10% off your purchase. There are some spooky flavors that are delightful, and you should really order them because they're really good. Shout out to everyone that was able to keep us afloat. We appreciate you. As well as thank you to a couple people, actually, that I've talked to lately that talked about how they actually listen to the show. And I had no idea. You know, it's nice to... Obviously, we know we have our core.
You talk about Travis?
Travis is one of them. There's a couple other people that I spoke to that
nice.
actually listened to the show, too. And it just made me very happy thinking, like, there are other people that listen to us. And so we appreciate every single one of you. If you don't already, give us a follow on all of our social platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We got to do another TikTok soon.
And also, don't forget to use the code DIMES10 on Nerdy Nuts.
Yeah, I just went over all that.
Oh, did you? I don't know. I'm not paying attention to you. Sorry.
They got new Halloween flavors, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to you. Sorry, Keith.
No love from Mike, but that is okay. We are wrapping up.
I've got like 60 emails I got to go through.
Episode 74 is wrapping up now. So thank you all for tuning in, and have a great night.
Go Creekside.
Have faith in Trevor Lawrence. He will come through.